Hello, we are live now. Hello, guys. Yes.
Yeah. Hello. Hi, everyone. Good evening.
Hello, boys.
All right. So I guess we're live and yeah, people are here waiting. So welcome to this session on sustainable development goals, where we have an interesting presentation for you. CareBridge again. This is basically a two birds with one stone presentation. Actually, a three birds with one stone presentation, but the third bird will tell you sometime later. Uh, we're gonna do the SDG event in something like overlapping with our Yantra hack presentation that all of you wanted like a long time back, and all of you requested to see the project too, but it never really materialized into something because we had very different schedules and our batch was basically going back home. So we thought of this very innovative way to present this to you and get done with an event also. So yeah, like a few of you might know, the five of us went to Yantra hack, which was basically a conclusive hack to the Yantra week back in June, where we had DevSoc, Hack Story, and all of those hacks. Yantra hack was the last one where all the winning teams of all the hacks prior to it and club nominated people would go ahead and participate. It was basically just there with like the idea of recreating something which is similar to the MIT hack, where people who are seemingly not known to each other come together, form a random team, and develop a project, go on to win a hackathon, something like that. They wanted to implement something very close to it and were able to some level. So yeah, somehow, and I am very unaware of the reason. Five CodeChef people happen to be in the same team. No one knows how that happened. It's an unexplainable phenomena. It was totally not planned by anyone because I'm pretty sure I wasn't in the same room as Anand Rajaram in fifth sem because I didn't even know him back then. So yeah, we happened to be on the same team somehow and we made this project which was called CareBridge. Now actually getting to the presentation and what it was. So the Yantra week was basically circled around this very topic of SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, and why was this very big entire week dedicated to it? Just because the G20 summit was being hosted by India in this very year. So yeah, they came up with this one week to celebrate the entire thing on the college level, and they had a lot of hackathons, one implemented a lot of few things, and that is how we ended up with this project. So yeah, moving on to the problem statements and what the project exactly was. We'll go in the same way as we went in our reviews. Uh, we had three reviews and we bullshitted a lot through all three of them. But yeah, uh, here's the thing. We were given a certain number of SDGs, which were corresponding to a lot of problem statements. Like every certain SDG had a few problem statements under them. We had to pick one up and yeah, basically work on it. These problem statements also had like a sub level. They were tracks. Every track had a certain winner, and the track winners were not eligible for the main three prizes. So yeah, that was there. And so how exactly we zeroed down on our track and our problem statement is another story, and that is exactly how we will begin this presentation. So, okay. So our thought process behind selecting the track itself and the problem statement itself was to look at what the core of the hack was. It was the G20 summit. And what was the theme of this particular G20 summit being held this year? It was Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, one earth, one family, one future. This is the same thing I said in this very North Indian accent to raise up all the South Indian faculties who were taking our last review. Somehow it worked. So yeah, I don't really expect it to work anymore. But again, Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, one earth, one family, one future was our one and only basis for the entire hackathon. The track in the SDG that was closest to this basis that we saw in the entire list was SDG 3, good health and well-being. Basically, in India, where everything is unified, families are respected, cultures are respected, all of that. So yeah, we zeroed down on SDG 3, good health and well-being. And yeah, if you could move on to the next slide. Those are the basic contents of the presentation, what we'll be going through exactly. Uh, yeah, we'll just move on from this. This exactly was the problem statement that we were given. Rapid growth of aging population presents a compelling need for the development of innovative, technologically advanced solutions that effectively address the intertwined challenges of elderly loneliness and declining health. These solutions should focus on creating social connections, promoting active lifestyles, and providing personalized healthcare support. Yeah, this was the exact problem statement as given to us. And then came the part of how we comprehend it and how we come up with a solution for it. Okay, so the two issues that we saw that were being talked about in the problem statement itself were A, elderly loneliness, and B, declining health. So, any set of elders in, let's say, India are facing these two issues. They are lonely essentially because their kids, family members have moved out, families have become more nuclear. Uh, and they're obviously in a phase of declining health. Their health is not going anywhere upwards. So what was the three pointer solution that we came up with, how to address these 2 points? Social connections, active lifestyles, and personalized healthcare support. So in order to address loneliness, you can obviously just form connections between people, social connections. And then once you have an active lifestyle that takes away, let's say, 40 to 50% of your problems. And even though you do that, that sample space of people that you're working with, people who are senior citizens, will always have health issues. So, personalized healthcare support. So, the exact project that we came up with had this very beautiful name, CareBridge, and this very beautiful tagline for it, connecting hearts, empowering lives. And the very basic description from a business point of view for this app was an innovative app that integrates advanced technologies such as machine learning and social networking features to provide comprehensive support for the elderly. Okay, moving on. Our objectives, the main objectives of this project were to like create a user-friendly and technologically advanced app to support the well-being of the elderly population, foster social connections, encourage active lifestyles, provide healthcare support, and yes, building all of this in alignment with the SDG 3, good health and well-being. Okay. Now, the features of this, again, I've gone over this already, healthcare support, social connections, and active lifestyles. I will get to how exactly we implemented it. Every detail of it, I will tell you everything about it. But yeah, just bear with me for this uh, official flow of it. So, technical requirements after that, if you could just move on. Yeah, we basically had two separate platforms on which we implemented the app was the web app obviously and the mobile app for iOS and Android both. Again, in order to ensure broad accessibility, the technologies we used were machine learning algorithms, secure data storage, and social networking features. Now, the exact tech stack that we used to implement all of this, the web app's front end was done using Next.js and the Tailwind framework. The backend was a no-brainer, going with Go Fiber, and the DB was Postgres. Go just because it's faster than all the other conventional backend languages used. The app was built on React Native. In the hackathon itself, the restricted time amount that we had of 48 hours, I think, we were able to implement the iOS app to all the functionalities. We didn't really get into building the Android app, but yeah, if something does come up in the future, we will probably just build that app too. And yeah, the machine learning part was done using OpenAI's Whisper API, which again is another very interesting feature that we included. And yeah, that is pretty much it for the presentation part of it. Now I will tell you what exactly we did in here. So there is a certain document that we compiled was basically just a product management kind of an approach for it. Yeah, there were, you know what, I'll actually just go ahead and present the doc to all of you guys so you can actually just see it as I'm doing the read through. Yeah, just confirm if this, yeah, if it is visible, right? So, yeah, let's just do a run through of this doc. So, and I'll keep explaining every functionality as we go through. So, these were the before this, we just have everything that I just explained to you, the objective, the project overview, and all of that. The development phases, we divided into six phases: requirement gathering and UI design. Phase two was core functionality development, including health monitoring, medication reminders, social networking features. Advanced feature implementation such as telehealth consultations, activity tracking, and gamification. Phase four was text testing, bug fixing, and user feedback incorporation. And phase five was just deployment on web and mobile platforms. Then user onboarding and support. Who exactly will be on this app and who will be the stakeholders providing this so-called support to them? Okay. So, user registrations was basically a seamless registration process for both volunteers and NGOs, capturing essential information. And user support was offering documentation, tutorials, and responsive customer support channels to address user inquiry and issues promptly. Now, here, so far, we've had no mention of these certain NGOs, volunteers, and these people. So, our exact idea behind this app was basically, let's say you have a space of sample space of senior citizens signing up on this app. Now, who exactly is going to provide them the support that we're offering? For this, our thought process was basically including NGOs, non-governmental organization, and like people who want to voluntarily offer their support. Okay, for this, the side offering the support would be onboarded in a different way. They would have a different portal, and the users will have a different portal. Okay, so these people, these the elderly people, for any of their tasks, they could probably just post these on the app, and then the process was basically someone would get assigned and get the task done. So all of you might be very familiar with the model of this app called Urban Clap, where basically you post a requirement for a service or you hire someone for a service per se, and then an expert is assigned to you in due time. They do the service and then you pay them. Except here, payments were not that much of an issue because, again, this is not a profit making venture that we wanted to delve into, more like a social good work kind of a venture. Okay. So here basically any person, any certain user would post a requirement such as they want a certain quantity of medicines delivered. They have a prescription with them. So someone would be assigned to pick up this exactly and then deliver it to them. That was the entire process. It was very simple. And then basically moving on to the part where how we ensure data privacy and security, compliance with data protection regulations, standard stuff, GDPR, and implement robust security measures. User data for collection, but yeah, we were not violating any user's data by storing them or storing them without their consent, basically. Evaluation and feedback was basically just collecting feedback from their end, what exactly was their experience throughout using the entire framework, basically. Yeah. Uh, when asked how exactly we plan to use this as a revenue generating model, we came up with a solution of a certain subscription model which provided different tiers of subscription plans. Like it wasn't a flat subscription plan where exactly any every user had to pay a certain decided amount, except we use this tier kind of a system where people coming from different economic backgrounds could pay according to their capacity or whatever budget they had. Okay, more on this later. We'll do a run through of the exact implementation and how all these exact technologies were implemented by the people who did it themselves. So first of all, of course, started with the user interface design. So yeah, Vaibhav, if you could do a walkthrough of the UI.
All right. Give me a minute. One second. Aditya, could you please share my screen? All right. So our plan was to keep the user interface very minimal so that the elderly people do not have any difficulty navigating through the interface. Am I audible? Yes, yes. Okay. So this was for the volunteer, and this was for wait. This was for the NGO. This was for the volunteer. Sorry, this was for the older people. The font is very large and it is clean so that elder people won't have difficulty in navigating to the app. Let me just prototype it. It's saying, wait, okay, so you just have to log in, or if you don't, if you have your credentials, you can directly log in, and then you can either search it or you can voice prompt it, and then you can scroll. You have an event section like uh, I guess Satyam could uh, elaborate more on this later. And there are blogs for elderly people to write and read about what is happening in the society. So you give the prompt and you get to choose the volunteers whom you want. Let us say we choose Weber Patak 1. And then we also have, uh, like, we'll confirm the volunteer and then we'll give them review. So that is what the app was. And on the NGO side, you'll have to create a profile and then you'll have to assign volunteers through assign volunteers to the elderly people. And then that is how it works. So this was it, and this was the prototype. All the buttons and all the navigations were properly connected. All right. Over to Anand.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Vaibhav, for the design part of it. So the web part of it, I mean, no points for guessing who did it. Aditansh and Shivam Sharma here. They did their expertise, front end and back end. So yeah, just go ahead and explain your parts and what exact functionalities you guys implemented.
Yeah, so as Satyam mentioned, the front end was done in Next and back end in Go. I mean, technicalities aside, I'll just present one sec, share screen. Yeah, so this is the one which we built for elderly. I mean, for volunteers and NGO. Sorry. Yeah, so basically, you could register as an individual volunteer, which then would require an NGO to verify your identity to prevent fraud and whatnot. Or if you were an NGO, you could register, validate yourself, and then assign volunteers. Basically, stuff about our app, obviously, makes a lot of sense, yes. And stuff makes a lot of sense, yes. We were sponsored, partnered in Akshay Patra and whatnot. Right. So, yeah, we have very basic thing. Let's try to log in. Let's say okay, we're making some more fields, I think. And now it's the backend down. Yep, anyway, so after this there were not, I think Vaibhav already showed you guys the prototype. So yeah, what the main feature that we did manage to implement was the one for elderly people, where we could show them, where they could speak and an ML model would recognize what they're saying and transcribe it. And it had the feature of multi-language support, which I think Anand can present.
Uh, all right. So, how multi-language support and translations work? I'll just give a brief overview before I actually try and get it running on my computer. But yeah, basically, as Satyam had explained, we are using the OpenAI API, which gives us a lot of functionality, and we are using this specific API called OpenAI Whisper. And this allows people to speak in their language of choice, be it Tamil, Hindi, Malayalam, anything. And what OpenAI Whisper allows us to do is actually transcribe what they're saying and translate it to English as well, so that it's easier for our backend to kind of classify the type of request. And for the classification of this request, we use something called zero shot classification. We are using a pre trained model by Facebook, which is on Hugging Face right now. But yeah, that is kind of an overview about how it works. And now I'll actually share my screen and try running the app in model. Just give me 1 second. Is my screen visible?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
now it is.
good. So, uh, now how it works. This is basically the app which was made in React Native. Now, this um, I couldn't get it running quick enough, but this will give you a quick enough overview about how it might work. This is basically a sign up field, as you can see. But yes, I just need to change a bunch of URLs. Okay, Satyam will get back to you while I fix this up. But yeah, just give me 5 minutes and I'll hopefully get it working. Yeah. Once.
By the way, I
Okay.
got the backend up, so wait.
Wait, if you got the backend up, then just give an ngrok URL or something. I'll just put that over here. I think I have it running either ways, but yeah.
I'll just show. See, I think, wait. Eh,
See,
No, I
meanwhile,
didn't.
while you guys figure it out, I'll answer
See,
like one or two of the questions that were posted in chat.
I'll just show this, then you
Sure,
continue
yeah.
with that. See,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
and all
sure.
was there. See, this was basically the interface where you could either type it out or do a voice prompt. Let's like you would record, and then you would pause it or stop it, and then if once the ML model processed, it would come over here. If you found it correct, you could submit it. Right. Apart from that, you're building out events and all. This was the main feature, and once you listed it, it would go to a page of, one sec. Let me just put it up. Yep. It would go to what? Yep. Available volunteers. You would get them. You could choose and confirm. Once you confirm, yep, that was basically the flow of the website.
Yeah. All right. So meanwhile, you guys figure out the functionality. I'll answer the questions. So Pranav, first question that you posted was, did you plan any support function or navigation use tutorial for the elders? Yes, we did. If they wanted specific help, they could raise it out. The admin team would be there 24/7 to resolve it. And navigation or use tutorial, yes, tutorials were included as part of the app and the website. If you wanted to find it and read any FAQ or raise any support, it was available. Then Vedant's question is, what were the biggest challenges encountered in developing CareBridge and how were they overcome? Okay, so I'll list out the challenges exactly that we faced, and these some of these might be specific to a time constraint that you face in hackathon. So one of the challenges was once we were done with the core functionality like the backend and even the app, the front end of the website wasn't really ready. So we had to kind of speed run that on the last day itself. And yeah, all thanks to Adnan here for one sleepless night that he pulled off. On the last day, we were actually able to give them a link of the deployed website with the entire functionality. So that was one of the challenges. Time constraint, obviously, when you're going for a both web and app deployment in a hackathon, you're definitely going to face it. So yeah, just be ready to decide how you're going to space it out, your exact tasks. Then another challenge was since this was something of a very idealistic idea and it was a very social good, feel good kind of a thing, we couldn't really make a revenue generating business model around it. So we had to kind of sit on that one point of it for hours and actually come up with a working business model which was actually suited and people found it to be, yeah, revenue generating was another one of the challenges. Not gonna lie, we had some help from the faculties itself who gave a few ideas and we built on them. But yeah, that was again a big part of it. Uh, Another challenge, I would say, again, the biggest functionality was the Whisper API's implementation, and again, those two ML models running simultaneously, where the translation model would translate from any given language to English and then use the transcribed text to classify it as what type of work the person wants was one of the other challenges that we faced. But yeah, clearing those was on Anand Rajaram. He managed it somehow. So yeah, big props to him. Then those were, yeah, if you want any other specific challenges, we'll get to them later, like hack specific, we'll tell you about those. Does CareBridge collect and incorporate user feedback of for continuous improvement? Yes, we did. We actually went a step ahead and we created a, a UX report. Uh, so I'm actually gonna show it to you guys. Wait, let me just present. There is something called a Google certified UX report that you're supposed to make while developing any project. It's kind of a complex report and you don't generally do it in hackathons, but we just thought, why not implement it? So yeah, let me just show it to you.
But these reports are usually made for like complex websites or official companies' websites, right? So it was good to be a part, like being implemented in
Yeah,
this hackathon.
just on that point, once you're in a hackathon, right? uh, Going one extra step in any sort of a thing will help you. Like, if you just go ahead and make one extra presentation that is utterly unrelated and not required, but you still put in the effort, it counts towards your overall presentation. So this I don't think you would have seen in any sort of a hack, but yeah, I'm just just gonna present it. Okay, so here is a four-phased view of a user. He says these, he thinks these, he does these, and he feels these. So it's obviously very project specific what your project addresses. You only need to include those things. I wish I had someone to talk and share my experiences. Again, the elderly loneliness part. Managing my health and medications is becoming more challenging. I feel left behind when it comes to using technology, I want to remain active and participate in activities that bring me joy. These are the things you would expect a user of your app to say.
By the way, this is
Similarly, you
called
have,
an empathy map.
yeah,
This is called an empathy map, right?
and then similarly, you have the things, feels, and does fields. Okay. We'll share the link of the presentation. You guys can actually go through it. No issues with that. Okay. And this is a sample UX persona that we came up with. What kind of a user would be using the app? Whether do you want to take this up,
No,
go through this?
these are we have an examples of user personas uh like which user would come to our platform and what might be their problems. Like, you could just read through it. We'll just share this PPT with you after the presentation. We have many users. Like, Satyam, you can move forward. Like, show them other users
Yeah,
as well.
so this is, just one user of what a sample user on the app would look like. They would obviously be over the age of 60, would be educated, working somewhere, retired, something like that. So we came up with this entire profile of a certain Mary Johnson. And yeah, so you have the demographics, you have goals of Mary, you have motivation and challenges that she faces, you have her personality traits, you have her needs, and then combining all of that, you come up with this problem statement. So Mary is a retired teacher who needs ways to stay connected, maintain her health, and access personalized healthcare support because she enjoys spending time engaging in community activities. Now, this problem statement needs to be solved using a goal statement. So our CareBridge app will let users connect, access personalized healthcare resources and improve their well-being, which will affect their social connections, health management, and improve overall quality of life by fostering social connections, improving health management, and enhancing overall well-being. We will measure effectiveness by user engagement, social interactions, and improving health outcomes. So yeah, one whole UX report. I hope that answered your question for the incorporating user feedback and continuous improvement. This was the first stage that we implemented it on. And then we had a plan for, contacting every user individually through some medium and collecting their response and incorporating all of those. We actually had one such instance where we had to switch our auth. Initially, we were using email for auth, basically logging in, but someone suggested that since the sample of users that you're working with are senior citizens, and there is a chance that some of them might not be as technology savvy as to have an email in the first place, or would be relying on their kids or whatever for email related activities. Why not you go ahead and implement the auth with a phone number? Because they would certainly have a phone number. So in a space of, I think, 1 hour, we had to switch our entire auth base from an email to a phone number. Again, it was pulled off very smoothly, so not an issue.
Yeah,
Um,
one more thing which we were thinking of implementing later was like Aadhaar verification, right? So we could actually verify if the users registering are
Yeah,
above
yeah.
the age
I
of
think there
60,
is
I
a
believe.
question regarding this. Yeah, Thanks has asked this. How are we keeping our data safe? So, what we had thought about was that we'll partner with the government on this or some government agency because we were aiming to have Aadhaar verification instead of manual verification by NGOs or like people. So, in if that were the case, we would partner with the government in order to store data, and any data would be stored according to the government of India's standards and rules and regulations. And obviously we cannot like partner with the corporate company because we are not making any profit from this was not a profit driven model, so we can't really go ahead and partner per se. But yes, that was something that we would have explored, obviously. I hope that answers. Anand, I think you have a favorite question over here.
Oh,
Why did you
yes.
go with React Native?
Okay, so see, there's when you look at the app development landscape, there are two main things which people look to. Three main things. One is React Native, one is Flutter, and the third is just plain old native apps. We were in a hackathon and we definitely didn't have time to develop apps separately for both platforms. So native was no go. So it was between Flutter and React Native. I I chose React Native because one, I am very familiar with React itself. So React Native is not a very big paradigm shift for me. Second, which is one of the main reasons, React Native makes doesn't throw years of experience of people who have built uh, like OS native APIs for Android and iOS. but it actually uses it, and it's just basically an abstraction layer over the native APIs. While Flutter, it uses its own Skia engine, Skia, however you want to pronounce it. It is not a very good abstraction layer, and it is generally known to slow things down. And it was meant to be a game engine and not exactly something to make apps on. And Flutter also comes with the problem that of something which is pretty big called code push. You can read about this in other places as well, but code push is something very, very important, which is why we chose React Native. Speaking of React Native, I somehow did figure out how to get the app running, so I'll just share my screen right now and show you whatever does work. Just give me a second.
He ran out of OpenAI credits on
Yeah,
a side.
that's the only issue. Yeah, right here you can see you exceeded your current quota. Please check your planet billing details. I exceeded all my limits during the hackathon itself, but yeah, that's pretty sad. But on a brighter side, ignore this error. The app does work, like at least the backend. Let's say test at test.com. Sign up. That'll take me to a login page. This is pretty nice. That is something which React Native also allows, I guess. Yeah. forgot, I forgot the okay test.com. Yeah. Now this is where you reach this home screen where any elderly person can do whatever they want. Like basically this was meant as the place where they interface with the app because it was built during a hackathon. It is very straightforward and simple, but basically they click on start recording and request for anything they want in their mother tongue language of choice. It doesn't matter. Over here, I'll just say start recording and say, yeah, this won't work anyways, but yeah, you can see the error which will pop up on the left. Yeah, and you exceeded your current quota. That's the only issue. OpenAI API, I do not have enough credits. But yeah, after this, what will happen is you will reach a volunteer screen where it will show you your request after it has been classified and transcribed by the ML models. It will show you your request over here along with the category of the request. Over here, you can see the category of the request is basically categorized into three main things. If you just over here, if okay, okay, my current just went, but yeah, you can see the category. This basically tries and classifies it into these candidate labels, where candidate labels is this, which is these. It categorizes the request into food, medicine, transportation, household, hygiene, etc. So after categorizing this request, it will show up over here on the main app, and it will show you a list of volunteers who can choose this as well, who can choose your request. So that is basically a gist of how the mobile app is supposed to work. It's supposed to be as simple as possible. Just log in, record your request, do anything you want, and you will reach a screen where you can see your volunteers. And yeah, that's basically the gist of it. I'll stop sharing my screen right now. But yeah, that is most of it for the tech side. Is there anything else to be added?
Yeah, that is actually pretty much it. We've covered all parts of it. The design, the tech, although it doesn't work fully now, it did back then. Yeah, basically everything else also works. If you guys have any more questions, okay, I don't see any more new questions popping up. So I guess that is it for this session. Thank you everyone for joining in. We were a little late and this session dragged along for a little bit, but I guess that was supposed to happen. It's a part of event conduction. Thank you so much for turning up. If you need any more specific info about this, the code is on GitHub, I think. Shivam,
All right,
it's
so
the
all
entire.
the repositories should be public, and Aitansh will share them in the chat. Otherwise, wait, I'll just drop the backend repo and the other repos also.
The backend repos README has the links to all the other repositories as well, so you can
Yeah,
just go there and just branch out from there.
wait, I'll just share. Wait.
You can pretty much contact us anywhere. Like if you're in one of our WhatsApp group, just drop a message. We'll respond. Or if you're not, just text us on our Instagram. It's at CodeChef-VIT, or any other platform. Literally, it's just at CodeChef-VIT. And yeah, we'll be sure to answer your doubts promptly. Guys, again, I'm just repeating this at CodeChef-VIT on any social media platform if you have any doubts and you're not in one of our GCs. If you're in one of our GCs, just drop a message.
Oh, Python backend? No, it wasn't a Python backend. Why? All right. All right. I believe our
Thanks,
main
thanks.
backend was in Go only, but Anand, you made something
Yeah.
in Flask, right? For the
That
ML
yeah,
API,
that was
right?
like the for the ML stuff just to deploy the models. There is just like one post route in Fast API.
Yeah.
That's all, nothing else.
Alright, guys, I got disconnected. So, do they have any more questions or anything? Or should we wrap up?
Yeah, just share the repositories also
Yeah,
in the chat.
we'll add them in the group event description only,
All right.
video description.
Yep. All right. We'll send you
Alright.
guys the link.
Okay.
You
Uh, so about this, thanks. You need to join club. You can join clubs and chapters through an official recruitment process that happens around this time, around December, November, December. You will be sent a mail from the. You'll get a mail from the college, the student welfare office about the process, and you can register for the club. And once you do register, the further process will be communicated to you.
All right, guys. Bye bye.
Thank you for joining. Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye bye.